Hello everyone, today I will be doing a review of the NIU KQi100F electric scooter after riding it for 6 months and probably well over 500 kilometers. Not sure about the exact distance as there is no odometer on this scooter. I will talk more about that a bit later on. The KQi100 is the newest, cheapest and most budget-oriented scooter from the lineup. It is the successor to the KQi1 and it has improved over it in many areas. Probably the most notable for adult riders will be the increase in motor power from 250 to 300 watts. That brings it in line with the older KQi2 scooter. The scooter has held up really well over the past 6 months, riding it in all weather conditions. Overall, I am happy with how the scooter performed. It is reasonably comfortable to ride and it's very well built. Even after 6 months there are no loose screws, no creaking or other loose parts, and nothing has broken or needed to be fixed. Even the folding handlebars have been solid with no need to tighten or adjust them, which was a pleasant surprise based on some of the issues I have seen on other scooters with similarly folding handlebars. The front suspension is a really nice addition for such a budget scooter, and it makes a noticeable difference to the ride comfort of no suspension scooters such as the KQi2. It's most noticeable when going over bumps, small potholes or railway crossings. The front suspension nicely absorbs the initial impact. You also have less shake in the handlebars overall. That being said, you still feel the bumps on the back wheel that does not have a suspension, so while the comfort is a bit better, the biggest noticeable difference, in my opinion, is the initial front wheel impact on bumps that gets absorbed by the front suspension. This also adds to the overall safety, as it's easier to handle an unexpected small bump or pothole with the suspension lessening the initial impact. I tried to record how the suspension works over bumps, and I also tried to record a slow motion video, and hopefully that shows you how the suspension works in practice. So while the KQi100 is not designed for off-roading, let me show you some slow motion footage of the front suspension working when going over some uneven off-road terrain. In addition to the suspension, the KQi100F has folding handlebars, which is a really nice addition if, for example, you live in an apartment and you need to fold the scooter up to take less space, or if you need to carry the scooter in public transport. The ability to fold the handlebars makes the overall footprint of the scooter much smaller, and it also makes it easier to put into a car trunk. So let me show you how it looks when it's folded up. So the handlebars fold up alongside the stem, then you loosen the latch and you can lower the handlebars, and there is a nice clip on the back fender that clips into the center section, and as you can see from above, it makes the scooter a lot more compact, and it should be easier to carry on public transport or stash it under the desk in your office and so on. So let me unfold it. So to fold it back out, well, the handlebars are simple enough. Then you have this button here that you loosen up and you put it up. It clicks into place and then you latch it in place. Another really nice addition for budget-oriented scooter is the inclusion of indicator lights on the ends of the handlebars. So as you can see now, I'm in direct sunlight and you can still see them really well even at a distance. The only downside is that they are only at the ends of the handlebars, so if you are a bigger person or maybe carrying a big backpack or a puffy jacket in winter, it might be harder to see the indicator lights from behind you. One thing to note about the indicator lights is the slightly unfortunate location of the activation buttons on top of this side display. So when you are holding the handlebar, you sort of have to twist your hand quite a bit to reach these two buttons up here, and if you are not looking at them, it's not easy to distinguish between the two buttons just based on tactile feel. So that's one aspect that NIU perhaps could have improved by maybe putting the buttons on the side of the display over here with the right up here and left here. It would be a lot easier to reach in this position. It's similar to how it is done on the KQi Air and some of the other scooters that have slightly different display configuration, but placing the buttons on top makes it quite a challenge to press while maintaining your speed and paying attention on what's going on around you. So this makes the indicator lights a bit less useful, unfortunately. Okay, then to finish the look of the handlebars, you have a standard bicycle bell that works really well, and you have a front drum brake that also works pretty well. Over here you can see the additional phone holder, or at least the base section for it. You can check out the video that I've done on that. If you need to have your phone on your scooter, for example for navigation, this is a really nice addition. So you have your phone centered over here and you have the display on the side. Now moving on to mention some of the negative aspects that I found with the KQi100F. One thing is that if you ride in wet conditions and in rain, the scooter can handle it, that's not a problem, but unfortunately what I discovered is that the back fender is not well designed, and unless you put a DIY mud flap on there like I did over here, then your trousers and your back will get sprayed with water. I also have one clip here that might show it, and I was not very happy about that. But once you put a small mud flap on the back fender, it's not a problem, and the front fender is fine because it sprays underneath the deck, so that's not an issue. So I just came back from work, and this was the first time I used the NIU KQi100F on wet pavement. It rained during the day, and as I was coming home it wasn't raining, but it was wet and there were small puddles everywhere. And this is what the scooter looks like. There is a bit of splashes on the front here, so the water coming up and flying back. Let's look from the bottom. And then on the back here you can see how the water splashes upwards. And now taking a look at my bag here, I'm not happy with the fenders on the KQi100F, because my shoulder bag is splashed, the back of my trousers are muddy, and even all the way up to my jacket, the part where I did not have the bag, so the bag was over here, and you can see the muddy splashes, and it was only slightly wet, it wasn't like flooded, so it was wet surfaces and maybe small puddles. So the back fender on this scooter definitely needs improvement, because it's not ideal to ride to work in dress trousers, and it's not raining but the pavement is wet and you are covered in splashes because of inadequate fenders on the scooter. So the KQi2 was a lot more reliable in that aspect, and the KQi Air as well. So this is probably the worst fenders on a KQi scooter that I've seen. When it comes to the front and back light, the front light is powerful enough that you can ride in complete darkness. It's not as good as the classic halo light on other new scooters, but it's still good enough. I will put a comparison of this light and the light, I believe it was on the KQi2 that I compared here. This is the KQi100F at night. The backlight is well visible and the front light is also quite good. I will also have a comparison with the KQi2 that I have over here next to it, and from the front. Okay, now let's turn on the KQi2. That's the day light and that's the full light. So let me now put the comparison here. So the KQi100F is on the right and the KQi2 is on the left, and I will be switching between the two front light sources. You can see that the halo light on the KQi2 is slightly brighter and shines further, but the KQi100F light is still pretty decent at night. Now let's take a look at the backlight while braking. The KQi2 is again on the left, the KQi100 on the right. So here you can see the comparison between the two backlights. They look pretty similar. The KQi2 is slightly bigger and slightly brighter. And now let me show you the braking. So you can see the KQi2 backlight is slightly brighter, but the KQi100 is still sufficient and it's well visible from the back. These are the indicator lights on the KQi100F, and they are very bright, way brighter than the backlight or the front light. So at night they will be really well visible, and they are also visible in sunlight, and you will see that in another part of this video. Okay, so this was the comparison of the two lights between the KQi2 that has the iconic halo light at the front and daylight running light and a slightly bigger backlight, and the KQi100F that has only the single light at the front and standard light at the back. NIU has decided to use tube tires on the KQi100, which was probably a budget consideration, as I have seen other manufacturers do the same on their budget models. However, this is one aspect I really wish NIU changed and used pre-slimed tubeless tires instead, which from my experience hold up a lot better long term and resist most small punctures without the rider ever noticing or having to do flat repairs. Alternatively, if you are going to use tube tires, you should use split rims to make tube changes a quick and simple process. If I am unfortunate enough to get a flat on the KQi100, I will make a tutorial on how to fix it. Let me know down in the comments if that is something you would like to see in the future. The deck of the scooter is wide enough, but it would benefit from being slightly longer due to the overall design and angle of the handlebars. The handlebars, as you can see, have a good rake angle, which contributes to great stability of the scooter and overall safety. This is important as on many scooters you can't even think of letting go of the handlebars with one hand without falling off, which you can sometimes do even without thinking, especially when you are used to riding a bicycle. The KQi100, due to its good stability, is more forgiving than many other scooters on the market if you happen to let go of the handlebars. The slight downside of the KQi100 design is that you can feel a little cramped on the deck, especially if you are used to other scooters like the KQi2 or KQi Air, where the deck space feels bigger even though the actual deck size is nearly identical. But once you get used to it, it's comfortable to ride, so it's not really a big problem. But if you have a chance to try out the scooter at the local scooter shop, then that is a good idea to do before you buy it, as with any other scooter really. The one aspect that you should also keep in mind is the range of the scooter. I will put the range numbers over here. I have tested it in cold conditions as well as in summer conditions, and the expected range at my weight, which is around 100 kilograms with all my gear, is in winter around 10 kilometers, and in summer maybe up to 15 kilometers, but maybe a bit less. But the range is very subjective because it depends on a lot of factors: how many times you have to brake for traffic lights, whether there are any inclines, how the wind is, and so on. So this is just the estimation based on some of the rides that I've done that might help you when deciding if this scooter is good enough for you. For example, for my work commute, the commute is around 5 kilometers, and I was able to make it there and back without any problems. So the scooter is ideal for short city commutes. As for the hill performance, I will put the clips of me testing it on the standard hills over here, and I will also compare it to the KQi2 because both scooters have the same power motor, so it will be interesting to see how they match up. Okay, so doing the hill climb test on the KQi100F. We are at my usual hill testing place, so let's see how it does on this first one. Okay, we made it all the way up. The scooter did slow down quite a bit, but for context, with all the gear that I have on at the moment, I'm about 100 kilograms. So let's go to the other side of the overpass and test the second hill climb. Okay, we are now on the other side of the overpass, and this is a slightly different hill climb with a sharp turn in the middle where you need to slow down completely. So let's give this a try. Okay, so we made it all the way up. The scooter maintained a slightly faster pace as on the previous hill climb, and the last one will be at the Apollo Bridge. Okay, so this is the next hill climb test in our series, so let's give it a try from a complete stop. And it made it up really well. It slowed down a bit, but I'm at about 100 kilos with all my gear on. So this was the last hill climb test for the KQi100F. Okay. And finally, here are also the brake tests with the scooter. That should give you a better idea of the brake performance. With the KQi100, what I noticed is that the regenerative braking is slightly stronger than, for example, on the KQi2. And especially when going down hills, I rarely have to use the drum brake. I just usually rely on the electronic brake in the brake wheel. Okay, so I've been doing brake testing on the KQi100F electric scooter. Okay, this was my start line, and this is the 5-meter mark, and these are the 5 attempts. So attempt number 1, 2 and 5 was 7.2 meters brake distance, and attempt number 4 and 3 was 6.9 meter distance. I have not adjusted the drum brake on the scooter since I got it, which is at least 500 kilometers. So if you adjust the brake a bit by tightening the drum over here, you will most likely get a better braking distance. I don't have the necessary tools here to test it out, but there is still a little bit of give, so I could tighten it up a little bit, and that should perhaps shorten the braking distance. But I'm testing it as it was out of the box, so these are the results for the brake tests. If anyone is interested to see brake tests after I fully adjust the brakes, then let me know down in the comments, and I will do a short follow-up video that will again test the braking distance once the brakes are fully adjusted. Another negative aspect of the budget KQi100 is that NIU has decided to put a more simpler display on the scooter, which would not be an issue, but from what they've told me, there is no real-time clock in this display. So what that does is that it does not work with the new app tracking, so you can't track your rides and the overall distance you traveled on the scooter, which is a bit unfortunate. I wish NIU had found a way to at least be able to track the total travel distance on the scooter, because that's important. For example, if you want to resell the scooter, to be able to show the potential buyer how much the scooter has been ridden. And same, for example, when I'm doing the reviews, I can't really tell you the exact number of kilometers I have traveled on the scooter, because I have not been tracking each ride every single day with a third-party app that would enable me to sort of calculate the overall distance over the past 6 months with the scooter. On other budget scooters from Segway, or for example from Xiaomi, they include at least the basic odometer function on their scooter, so it's a bit unfortunate that on the KQi100 it seems that's not possible. But on a more positive note, that does not really affect the use of the scooter, so it's a bit of a compromise on a budget scooter to keep the price as low as possible. And unless you really like to track all your rides and see how much you traveled on your scooter, not including that function with the KQi100 won't affect your enjoyment of the scooter and riding it day to day. The final small issue that I had with the scooter is with the twist throttle, as you can maybe hear. There is a loose spring or something in the throttle. I mean, it does not affect the function of it, but it rattles a bit when you ride the scooter. So I contacted NIU about that, and they have sent me a replacement throttle, so that will be probably something that I will be replacing in a future video. One aspect that NIU hopefully improves in the future is how they ship replacement parts, and to make parts easier to buy and get for the new scooters. While it was not too complicated to contact them and get the replacement throttle, it did take some time, and overall I think that's one aspect that they need to improve. Also, based on discussions and feedback from different online communities, the availability of spare parts is often cited as one aspect that NIU's customer service should look at and improve going into the future, and make all parts easily accessible and easy to order online. So for example, even once your warranty runs out, if something breaks, or for example you crash your scooter and you need to replace the turn signals or any other part, it should be easy to just go on NIU's website, place an order for the spare part, and have the spare part at your house in a few days or a week or two. It should not take too long, and all parts should be kept in stock and available, especially when people use the scooter for their daily commute. They often can't wait weeks or months for the scooter to get fixed, because they need the scooter for their daily commute to work or school. And if the scooter is in a repair center for several weeks, or if they are waiting for a part for a few weeks, then that can create a problem, especially if it's their only mode of transport. So when deciding what scooter is ideal for you, I think NIU nicely differentiates their scooter lineup between the 100, 200 and 300 series. And the main difference or consideration when making a purchase decision, in my opinion, should be based on the range and power you need. As a secondary consideration, you can consider the extra benefits as you move up the lineup, especially between the 100 and 200 series, as the 100 series has more design changes versus the higher end models, such as the more simple front light versus the halo light, tube tires versus tubeless, different display, and also no odometer. The big factor also is the price point and your budget. As you move from the more budget-oriented models as the 100 series to the 300 series, or all the way to the more expensive special models like the KQi Air that prioritizes super lightweight, but due to the use of carbon fiber comes at a higher cost. You need to decide what features you value the most and what power you need for the hills in your area, and especially what range you need for your intended use case, as the range goes up from the 100 to 200 and to 300 series scooters. So if you only need the scooter for very short commutes, I think the KQi 100 is a really good option at a low budget. But if your commute is a bit longer, then it's best to look at the KQi 200 or KQi 300 series. NIU also still sells their older lineup of scooters that don't include the front suspension. If there are any deals, those are also still a great option if you don't need the addition of the front suspension or the indicator lights that are more common on the newer versions. So overall, I think the KQi 100F is a well-built, solid scooter if you are on a tight budget or you only need the scooter for short city commutes. It has some nice features like the front suspension, indicator lights and foldable handlebars that improve the functionality and add a lot of value to a low price scooter. I hope this review helped you in finding out more information on the scooter and help you decide whether this is the right scooter for you or whether you should consider other options like the KQi 200, 300 or perhaps completely different scooters. If you have any questions about the KQi 100 or there is something else you would like me to cover on this scooter in a future video, let me know down in the comments, and I will be happy to share all my knowledge and what I found out riding the scooter for the past 6 months. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, it really helps me out, and you can also subscribe to my channel to be notified of future scooter videos. Thanks for watching and see you next time.